Going live. Oh boy, that's pretty high, actually. All right, excellent condition on YouTube and
there we are.
And whatever condition on Facebook. It doesn't really tell me. But it says we're live, so we must be live.
And a 1 and a 4.
Which means it's time for the theme. Am I going to be able to play the theme? I don't know.
Hit
Let's
it,
find
boys.
out. It won't let me. Okay, maybe if I do it this way.
It's Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave.
Hey, James.
Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
It is Church Chat Wednesday. I am Pastor Dan.
And I am no longer Sensei Dave.
That's right. You're back to just being Pastor
I know,
Dave.
I lost. So
And-
I'm back to Pastor Dave, yes.
That's right. And James Adkins pushing the buttons. And also special guest, squirrel out on the front porch or back porch eating a pumpkin.
That thing is smashing that pumpkin.
A little
It didn't even
Bo.
want to move.
Little Bo, you've named the squirrel.
Yeah, he'll actually take stuff out of your hands if you go out.
Yeah,
there.
we walk in and there's this white pumpkin sitting on the back porch, and the squirrel's like halfway in it eating this thing. I mean, it's
probably there right now.
we're gonna go out after this. It is just gonna have this giant round belly, and it's laying there in a pumpkin coma.
That's right.
Have you guys do you guys remember the videos of animals eating fruit that is
Like fermented?
and
Yes.
so that it's like drunk squirrels and stuff?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I have not. I missed it.
Oh, it's pretty fun.
Was this before or
good
after
stuff.
the whole cucumber with the cat thing?
Way before.
Yeah, before.
Okay.
But yes, it's very funny. It's like sometimes aren't there goats that eat fermented apples and then they're like just drunk walking around?
I specifically remember squirrels and like Serengeti animals like giraffes and stuff.
I thought there was a bear once too, maybe. Well, I think it's a story of a bear like breaking into like a convenience store and like actually smashing a whole bunch of Budweiser. And they find it
Smart
just
bear.
passed out in there.
Nice.
Yeah. That's smarter than your average bear.
Smarter. What if Boo Boo was waiting around the corner?
Might have been. Trevor Wright, Pastor Trevor Wright from Journey at Christ Church will be on in a little bit to talk about spiritual direction stuff and something that both Dave and I do also. And Trevor's actually a trained spiritual director, so he'll kind of talk about some of that a little bit. But before we get to Trevor, I need to tell you a story about my. So usually we talk about chickens.
Yes.
You don't have chickens anymore,
No more
so
chickens.
so we can't talk about your chickens anymore. My chickens are fine, nothing too exciting there. But you might remember that we also have at our house a rabbit. We started off with 3 rabbits back in the day.
And they've been peeling off.
They've been peeling off. We got them about 6 years ago. For a long time, they lived under the trampoline. We fenced in the bottom of the trampoline and they lived under there. But since the chickens have been here, we had them they were in with the chickens, right? So, Princess was the first one. That was Adeline's rabbit that we lost her. Apparently, rabbits can get breast cancer. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month for people and rabbits. And I want you to be aware rabbits can get breast cancer. And so she did not make it. Smokey was Amelia's. And we just went out one morning and
Smokey was smoked.
had passed away, unfortunately, in the night. So Hazel's the only one left. This is Renee's rabbit. A few days ago, Holly goes outside, and we usually let Hazel just run around the yard and stuff, and she's out running around the yard. But Holly notices that she's acting weird. She was dragging her back legs behind her. We don't know what happened, but somehow Hazel is paralyzed from the, I guess, waist down. If she has a waist, do rabbits have a waist? From the midsection down. So Hazel is paralyzed. She's right now in a cage in Renee's room, giving her some pain meds, and which is fun because in at the pharmacy, I am Hazel Metzger. I am Hazel Metzger's dad, so I have to sign for her. We think she's going to be okay. I think we have a picture of her up there. Renee's taking very good care of her. But there's conversation. Should she pull through all this, which it looks like she probably will, do we get Hazel the rabbit a wheelchair?
Here's the thing. Okay, so
This is my life. This is what every day is something more bizarre than the last. I don't
see. I'm so glad we're past the disposable pet phase. But here's the thing: is why does she need painkillers if she's paralyzed?
Apparently, the vet thinks that maybe what happened. Sometimes, apparently, rabbits, they get excited. They can jump or twist in a weird way, and basically, like, a vertebrae goes out or something like that. And that, like, this is a common thing.
Oh.
And so he saw some inflammation because they took X-rays of the rabbit.
Wow.
And so he thought she could be in some pain. So we'll try to,
Yeah.
So
So I can't even imagine. I won't even ask what.
So I have
what
a
this is
3-legged
costing
dog,
me.
and now I'm going to have a rabbit in a wheelchair.
So I can't even imagine what this is costing you. I don't even want to guess.
You mean besides my dignity?
just for X-rays and all?
It's not. It wasn't as bad as. It's not like people X-ray costs. Healthcare for pets much cheaper than healthcare for people.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But yeah, it's like $180 or something like that. I don't know.
For a $15 rabbit.
But you
I
can't
think-
put a price on the emotional attachment
Yeah.
of. I mean, you can. And
See, this is why I got rid of chickens. Is 'cause, but I think you should get the little wheel, wheel thing.
yeah.
Just because I want to see that thing booking around your yard.
Oh yeah, and that's what it'll be. It's basically this contraption that would strap to her that has wheels where her legs also are, and she'd just drag her legs and the wheels would go, and she just runs with the little front feet.
So, what
I gotta see
movie
it.
was it that had Arnold Schwarzenegger? And all I remember about it is that it all had to do with cloning. But I guess his daughter had a pet something, and it died. And so there's this company called Repet that would, you just give it like a sample, and it will like clone another one.
Oh,
At the same age, so that your child doesn't know that the original is gone.
that one's gone.
Yeah. I can't remember what movie this was. Like Total
Fatal
Recall,
Attraction?
maybe. Or I think it was like, was it Total Recall? I kind
I
of feel
don't
like it
know.
might be. But yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Repet. If only you had Repet.
So now a wheelchair. I looked on eBay. So which is fun because now the ads that pop up based on your Google searches. So I now get like ads for this kind of random stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like $70 for the wheelchair contraption for the rabbit. So, but that might be worth $70. So here's the thing. I've been very clear. I'm not an animal person necessarily. I've got 2 cats. One that wears the only male animal is one of the cats, but it wears a bow tie. So how masculine is that? I have a 3-legged dog. I have 6 chickens, and I'm going to have a rabbit in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And you're not an animal lover.
I'm not. I am not. But I live with a whole bunch of them. And
I don't think it's healthy to fill the studio with a bunch of lies.
this is really therapy for me talking about these. So Holly went out last night with the girls to her mom's because they just got a new dog, and Holly, she'd been talking about wanting a puppy and stuff like that. I think the puppy out there really ended that for Holly.
Good.
Last night. There was a lot of cleaning up of things on the floor in the middle of the night, and yeah. So I think that Holly, if you're watching, you can confirm that you are now not interested in a dog at all. Correct.
Well, now that our boys are older, the youngest being almost 8, he'll be 18 in the spring. Yeah, the disposable pet phase is gone.
It's gone. Don't have to do that anymore.
You know, a couple years ago we did the whole talk. We got talked into a puppy, and that lasted about 3 months, and we gave it back. And
The best thing,
one dog, one cat, we're good.
I'm always looking for the bright side in things. And if there's been a bright side to the pandemic, it's been that I know that a lot of y'all missed having the county fair.
It's at your house.
Well, the problem with the county fair for us is we always come home with some animal that they've won at a game. We've either got a hermit crab or a goldfish or another bunny or, you know, probably a ferret next time. Who knows? Actually, our neighbors have ferrets that they walk on leashes.
My wife won't let me have a ferret.
They stink.
My neighbors or the ferrets?
Here's a cool. You know where right by our house where Eagle Creek, the park is?
Yeah.
Well, according to our neighbor, he's since passed, but we used to share a driveway with him, and our kids called him Grandpa. He grew up in Findlay, and that area used to be a quarry, and everybody swam there. And after the fair every year, everybody just released their goldfish in there. So there was these humongous goldfish, I guess. And here's an odd thing. There were these freshwater jellyfish in there.
Get out of here.
I know. And I looked
I
it
didn't
up.
know that was a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing either.
Freshwater jellyfish. Hey,
In this
do they sting?
quarry.
They stingy jellyfish?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
But I do know, just like every good thing, eventually I think somebody drowned or something, and they filled it in. But that was everybody uses swim right there.
Well, there you go. Learn something new. All right, so our guest, let's bring it back. We'll do some church stuff today. Let's go ahead, and if Trevor's ready, we can go ahead and bring Trevor on, and we'll have a little bit of a chat. I've known Trevor for a long time. He's one of the first people that I worked with in ministry, and we shared an office together.
Yeah?
We got to know each other that way.
Because I've known Trevor a while, but I didn't know you.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, hey, Trevor, how are you doing?
There's that good looking guy.
Fantastic. Look at you two.
Look at us. Look at us
you.
here together. I was just telling Dave, we've known each other for a really long time. You were the youth pastor at St. Paul's, and then I did an internship there. And so you and I hung out together for a summer, went to Milwaukee together.
Milwaukee and the honey dipped donut shop.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
That place
That was
awesome,
really
yeah.
good. That was
Yeah.
one of the craziest mission trips because didn't we turn a bar into a daycare, like an abandoned bar or something like that?
That could have been one of the groups. We divided it up into groups.
Yeah,
and
we
so
went to
depending
different
on-
places.
Yeah. So I was at a youth center
Yeah.
for like a Big Brothers sort of center.
Right.
For my group.
So, well, Trevor, you are the pastor at Journey at Christ Church here in Findlay. Is he the first other pastor, besides Barry, that we've had on?
Yes, he is.
You're the only other clergy that's been on this. Look at you.
For better or worse, I guess.
But the second spiritual director.
Second spiritual director, that's right, because Sister Edna was on. Mm-hmm. She was one of our first ones back, I don't know, probably in April or something like that. But Trevor, you are a trained spiritual director. Why don't you talk a little bit about what a spiritual director is?
Just tee that up for the biggest wide open topic ever,
Yes.
I think. Spiritual direction is really about walking together with someone to create some awareness of how God is active in their life. It's probably the easiest nutshell in the way to talk about that. So it's a two-person relationship, but really kind of three chairs, if you want to picture God in that conversation. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm a tour guide helping to point out markers and points of interest that somebody might miss along the way. that they would be able to then have a greater awareness of how God has been present to them. Because I think so often we lack the awareness of how God is present to us because we're the ones who remove ourselves from presence, right? And so in the ways that we might not be present to God, God is still present there, and we miss that. And so spiritual direction is really creating an environment where kind of those obstacles can be put out of the way, and I can help people to see that presence in their life.
Very cool.
That's
How
great
long?
summation.
I mean, how? When did you kind of get interested in being a spiritual director?
I think that I started to read about it and hear about it maybe 5 years ago. I started looking into it, and then I got into the way I word it is to sit with a spiritual director myself, probably 3 or 4 years ago. Recognizing that I needed that for myself, but
Sure.
also at that point recognizing that I think that at some point I might want to do this.
Right.
And there's really it's kind of a code of ethics sort of thing for spiritual directors that you ought not direct anybody else if you're not also participating in direction yourself. And so that's a discipline for myself. And I actually just went and sat with my director this morning. As that personal practice myself. So my interest goes back probably 5 years. I've been with a director for 4 years. I'm at a year and a half working with people myself.
So your spiritual director, like Dave, is a nun, right?
Yes. I love the sisters.
I think that's such a cool what do I want to say? Protestants and Catholics don't always mix.
Yeah.
But what a cool interdisciplinary, I guess maybe would be the word, kind of thing where, they're willing to sit with Protestants and that we can learn from each other. I think so often we dismiss one another if you're not in the same club as we are. And I think that's such a neat thing that's been an area where there's been a lot of kind of back and forth between Protestants and Catholics.
And Trevor, your guide, isn't she Benedictine?
No, she's a Sister of Mercy. I go up to Fremont, and their order is the Sisters of Mercy.
Okay, and mine is Franciscan.
Okay.
So I'm just pointing out, it's kind of neat that there's such a broad spectrum of, even in the Catholic Church, there's a broad spectrum of.
Yeah.
Right. And my director, she said actually the predominant makeup of her directees, the clients that she works with, are Protestant clergy.
That's interesting.
So she actually works with a lot of Protestant clergy because it's outside of, I think probably outside of the denomination. It feels like there's a little bit of safety or anonymity perhaps for that. Mm-hmm. And I value the sisters because really the Catholic Church held the practice of spiritual direction in safety for so many centuries, and it's really just now, I think, in the last, certainly currently now, I couldn't tell you how many decades, but I think that practice is becoming to cross lines into Protestantism more so. There's still some who view that as a little bit more, they're a little bit more wary of that practice, but certainly it was held through those centuries ever since Desert Fathers and Desert Mothers, I think, is really where it began as a practice. And so, if they've got generations of experience, then perhaps we ought to sit with them a little more graciously.
Yeah, my spiritual director is not a nun. It's a dude. And we meet, it's a guy who
is a dude.
He's a dude. He's down in Cincinnati, and we Skype with each other now. Every now and then I'll go down there, but that's a relationship I started while I was a pastor down there, and so it's just one that I've wanted to keep up. And I found it to be really helpful. I guess a couple of observations that I've had is that for me it's almost like, we do all these things to attend for our physical self, and we go to, therapists to tend to our mental health. And, what do we do for our spiritual health and well-being. And so for me, that's kind of what it feels like I'm getting kind of a routine checkup in a lot of ways. How am I doing? And I almost feel like he's always checking my spiritual vital signs in a way to make sure, like, how are you doing, in all of these different areas. Do you see that analogy kind of play out?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there are times, I think maybe 2 months ago, when I found that I was really fighting against going to see my director, and I've recognized about myself that those are the times I absolutely have to get my butt into the car and drive there.
Yep.
And get there and speak out whatever it is that that is causing me to not want to go.
Yeah.
Is so incredibly important. And for me personally, there are people who live in their heads. There are people who live in their hearts. There are people who live in their gut. I live in my head, and sometimes I don't know what I feel until I speak something out loud, and then I begin to process. And so otherwise, it's just stuck up in my head. And my director helps me to speak things, and sometimes I'll say something and kind of be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that was even where I was living at that moment, and that really draws me out. So super important for that checkup. Yeah. Sometimes I don't even know how I am.
Well, one really cool thing that I experience as well is your director's a ways away, correct? Up in the Fremont area.
Right. I drive an hour.
So you get that, and mine's 45 minutes or so. So you get that process time on the way back, which I just think is awesome.
The other thing I was gonna mention is, it feels to me, and you kind of mentioned, like, most of her clients are Protestant clergy members. This is something that I think is catching on more in the clergy community, but I really wish that it would catch on more outside of with the laity, with just regular old church people who call themselves Christian. Like, that this is an important thing, I think, that you can do for yourself, to really get more serious about your faith. I think a lot of times people are just stuck trying to figure out, how do I take these next steps? And there's, I go to church on Sunday, try to do what they say in the sermon. Maybe I'll join a Bible study or a Sunday school class, or read whatever book is on the, bestseller list right now. But this is really a much more, to me, effective way to grow your faith. It really helps you take some of those next steps.
Well, and a lot of this conversation, we've been talking about nuns in Fremont and Tiffin and your buddy in Cincinnati. And Trevor's right here.
Yeah.
Which is...
Right, which is a part of why I wanted you to come on, so we could say, hey, this is available to people here.
Yeah. I think part of the reason that I initially started looking into spiritual direction to be able to offer for others was a recognition that sometimes in the church, what we call a discipleship process can really be a regimented, step-by-step manufacturing of the exact same person on the other side, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I recognize that for my context and the people who are in my church, that process has never, ever worked. And so it felt like an old discipline for a new reality was necessary, and that spiritual direction is one of those things that helps people to grow and to be able to process outside of a church context. Mm-hmm. To be able to grow in a different way. For some people, that might be supplemental to the church, the faith community that they're a part of. And in all honesty, it hurts as a pastor to say this, that sometimes our churches are not helping people grow deeper in the ways that they need to grow.
Right.
I don't want to say that, but the reality is that churches are created kind of for a group, and spiritual direction helps an individual. It takes what is most potent and most important for somebody's life right then and there, and allows an avenue for people to talk about that in a very intimate and safe environment to really process questions or doubts. Generally, we're not allowed to say that we have doubts in the church, right?
Sure.
We're supposed to supposed to have it all wrapped up. Even us as clergy, we're supposed to have it all answered.
Yeah.
But spiritual direction allows people to kind of go, you know what, this bit I've always been uncomfortable with. I need to sit with this or explore this. Can we do that? And spiritual direction is a great environment for that.
Very cool. If people are interested in having you as a spiritual director or just learning more about what that looks like, how do they get a hold of you? I know you've got a website, all those things. How do they get a hold of you?
Easiest, my website is makespace.life. So just spell that out. www.makespace.life is my website. There's more information there. People can email me from there. They can book a session from there. It's all right there together. So,
all right. Do you know? Are there other people around here, not in Tiffin or Fremont or whatever, who are doing this?
I know of a handful of people within our denomination who are trained spiritual directors, and I've tried to push people kind of, if you want a face-to-face and you don't want to do the hour drive, I actually like the hour drive and the hour drive back. But if you don't want to do that and you want to do more regionally, I do have some reference people to be able to refer in different parts of Northwest Ohio anyway.
Right on.
So, yeah. Hey, one thing I just wanted to share. Actually, that my director told me about this morning. It's a book called "Learning to Walk in the Dark" by Barbara Brown Taylor, and she just had this great quote, and I have to attribute it to my director by way of the book. I haven't finished the book, so I haven't found the quote yet. So this is like a third hand quote. But she was talking about the difference between counseling and spiritual direction. Sometimes people get a little bit confused about the differences between those. And so learning to walk in the dark, she talks about those times where we feel like we're in darkness, which seems pretty pertinent right now. Things are heavy, things are dark. And she said, so picture in the book, she talks about being in a cave and in darkness. And typically we go to a therapist or we go to a counselor in order to be led out of the dark. And a spiritual director leads you deeper into the cave. And to be able to explore what are those places within the dark where there actually is light to be found, where there is growth to be found, where there is positivity to be found. I can't wait till I get to that part of the book to be able to read that quote, but that's, my director shared that with me this morning. I found that really interesting. To go deeper into the dark is counterintuitive. Yeah. But sometimes that's where we need to go.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate it. And I think we've got your website linked in the comment section. So if you're interested in that, check that out. All of you tens of viewers that are out there. And Trevor, appreciate you being on, and appreciate your friendship, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you 2 days in a row.
I know. Man. Lucky you. Yeah. All right. Take care.
All right. See you.
Bye. It's very cool. I love, and it's been fun to watch him, lean into that kind of feeling of maybe this is a part of what I want to do. And I can understand the desire to be a spiritual director. I don't think it's part of my calling, but I can definitely understand, because some of my favorite times as a pastor are getting to sit down with a person one-on-one, get a little more intense, talk about, all right, what is it that God's doing in your life? What is it that's really happening here? And spiritual direction is that on steroids in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think it would be emotional. Like I can handle like one or two of those a week, I love doing it, but it does. There's like an emotional toll that it takes. And
you commented on my sermon this week. That whole sermon Wednesday, I met with my spiritual director, and that whole sermon came from that time with her. So it's definitely an opening up of and mine's a little different because she is also a certified counselor, so there's a little both.
There is a little bit of both for you.
Like don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to manage this way. Don't forget to, So there's an element of both.
Yeah, my guy would always he'll always tie those things in together. Like the things that you're doing to take care of yourself are spiritual in so many ways. And so yeah, it's interesting. I really do think that it's something that it's not just for clergy. It's not just for super Christians. Like, if that's something that maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it or whatever, just, I would say, call up Trevor, see if you can do like, hey, can I just do a test drive of this sort of thing and see what it's like, and is this the kind of thing that would be helpful to me or not? But it's pretty valuable.
Well, like we were talking in my small group this past Sunday, in our westernness, we've lost touch with so many.
Right.
I guess the best thing to say is we've lost touch with the mystery of our religion.
Yeah.
And there's really a lot of beauty and a lot of mystery and other than, and this just helps you get in touch with some of that.
Yeah. I think that there's kind of to me, there's kind of this lie that we've accepted as true in the past couple of decades of people saying, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. I don't think people are all that spiritual.
No.
Like, I think what you mean to say is, I probably maybe believe in that there's something out there, but I don't want to go to church.
Yeah.
And, so there's way more people that are religious but not spiritual than there are spiritual but not religious.
And even for those of us who do go to church, we live in a Walmart world.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to make your religion a buffet. Well, I like this, so I'm going to heap some of that on my religious plate. I'm not so hot on these next two dishes, so I'm just going to blow right past them.
Right. What are some examples of that? Like, I think of like karma. Like, I think there's a lot of Christians that think, that believe in the idea of karma or something. Like, it's not really in our stuff.
Well, even just some of the basics of what Jesus talked about. People like to believe Jesus and he's this forgiving being, but he was also pretty convicting to those of us that were supposed to know better.
Right.
And so let's just skip over that part, because I'm not a Pharisee, even though I really am. Yeah. It's just stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess it's just dismissing any part about our religion that you don't like because it's convicting or inconvenient.
Well, like, we're getting ready to go into everybody's favorite time of the year at church, stewardship season. And that's one part where, and I mean, let's just be honest, attendance will drop.
Yeah.
Because we just don't like to talk about it. But it's a part of our story. It's a part of our scriptures.
Jesus talked about money all the time.
It's a part of what it's kind of about. So, and I get it, and so that's really what I'm talking about a lot in my sermon, is that we have this like aversion to it because it makes us feel too convicted or whatever. But I kind of want to look at it a totally different way. Like, all right, let's stop doing the guilt thing for a minute. And for me, the reason you invest in the church is, yes, one, obedience, but also, what other institution has existed over the last 2,000 years that has cared for the poor and has reinvented itself over and over again to find ways in which to serve the kingdom of God? I mean, it over and over again. Are there bad apples? Yes. Are there swindlers with multi-$1,000 suits and jets? Yes. They ain't on this couch, but they exist. The church has been, and I can say this with full confidence, has been more influential in helping to make the world a better place than any other institution in the world in history, period. Why would I not want to invest in that?
Right. And we tend to, like you said, look at the mistakes.
Oh, we look at the bad apples. Oh, what about the Crusades? Like, yes, there have been terrible things done. And
I remember being at a conference and there was a young guy, Duffy Robbins. You probably know who he is. He's a big name in youth ministry and
Okay.
that kind of thing. But I was at a conference and there was a younger guy, in his 20s, and just said, for 2,000 years you haven't gotten it right. And Duffy, why should I believe you? In 2,000 years you haven't got it right. And Duffy's response was, I'd rather take 2,000 years of mistakes and getting some things right than the collective wisdom right now. So I think sometimes we dismiss,
Right.
like you said, that 2,000 years of evolution that we've had
Right.
as a church.
I'm not trying to say that terrible things that have happened in the church, in the name of the church, like, yes, and we have to continue to work to be better
Right.
in those things.
But we get hung up on those things.
But the amount of good that has been done in the name of Christ through the church over the last 2,000 years is immeasurable. Absolutely immeasurable. And there's no political party, no nonprofit, no military, no one else has done more for the good of the world than the church. And I know that's a hard pill for some people to swallow,
Yeah.
but it's true.
It's true, and I'm glad you said it.
And so that's kind of my sermon this Sunday is here's why would you not want to invest in this? And so we're going to look at the different places and ways that the church does that.
So the next Sunday when I'm senior pastor.
Yes, exactly. But as a part of that, we're going to put that into practice. So we're going to be doing the stewardship stuff for the church, but we are also this week, and you'll hear more about it Sunday, we're going to be talking about the city mission.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to collect food for them, and we're going to raise money to buy a steer. So that'll be fun.
Yep, that would be really cool.
So,
I have a tickle in my throat. It's not Rona, I promise.
So, you know how we rely on our chat to keep us
Yes.
honest?
Yes.
Well, let's see, who was it now? It was Kelly Sterling who mentioned that wasn't Dan's mom on the stream one time? You're
Oh
talking
my
about-
goodness, I forgot about Irma. Well, but no, she wasn't a Skyped in guest though.
She was
I
a
don't
host.
know,
She was a
that's
host. She was a host.
Okay. I don't know.
But yeah, you're right.
Have to
I forgot about my
have
mom.
to go back
Oh
to
my
the
gosh.
tape to see if that's exactly.
She'll yell at me.
Yep.
So, but yeah, the cool thing about buying the steer is that we're going to buy it. We support a local farmer that way. The United Way pays for the processing, and the meat goes to the city mission. I mean, it's a win for everybody. It's a really cool thing. So we'll raise a little bit of money for that. We already have some admissions to do that, but if you want to donate towards it, you can. But then we're also going to give a list. The mission's hurting for food donations right now. And so we're going to try to help, if we really want to say the church is important and it changes the community and changes the world, we're going to put that into practice. So I think that'll be a really neat thing.
Excellent.
Yes.
Incidentally, I believe they're also hurting for donations of jackets and things of that nature, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you are right, and I can confirm that with them. But yeah, there's, just don't forget about them right now. Nonprofits in general are struggling, but yeah, City Mission can definitely use your help. There's a really cool thing yesterday that I saw. They were live from, they went live from the City Mission on Facebook, and I'm going to forget her name, from Habitat. Wendy from Habitat was there talking to the people there about Habitat. And they pulled out one of the volunteers who was helping serve the meal that day and said, "Hey, you applied for a house, didn't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is the process I went through." And they said, "Awesome. I'm here today to tell you that you're getting the next Habitat house."
Oh,
so that was
is
very
so
cool. That was fun to watch. So check out Habitat or City Mission. I think it's on both of their Facebook pages. It's a really cool video of somebody getting told that you're going to have a house. You're going to have somewhere to live, you and your kids. So
That's
very
awesome.
neat.
Hey, Kyle Metzger says United Way shout out.
United Way shout out, Kyle Metzger. That's my brother who happens to be the is it president and CEO of the United Way, or just CEO of the United Way in Huntington, Indiana.
Wow.
So go Kyle, go. So, all right. One other thing that I wanted to make sure that we mentioned on Halloween, on October 31st, that's also Trick or Treat Day here in Findlay.
Yep.
Trick or Treat starts later, I don't know, 5, 6, I don't know when.
Yeah, it normally starts at 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Okay, but from 2 to 4 at the church in the parking lot, we are going to have a drive-through trunk or treat. Here's what that means. If you've got kiddos, get them dressed up. You're going to stay in the car. We'll have this path for you to drive through, windows down, and we'll have all of our cars parked through there with the trunks facing out. We'll have the trunks open. They'll be decorated, and they'll be full of candy and toys and stickers and glow sticks and things.
Whatnot.
Dave is going to buy full-size candy bars, Snickers bars for everybody. And
Count on it.
but it'll be really cool. So especially if you're worried about taking your kids trick-or-treating for whatever reason, or if it's too late.
You
can
actually
do this during the day.
forget that what I volunteered to do was walk around with any kids with food sensitivities.
It's very nice of you.
And take
that
off their
Take that
plate.
candy that
Yeah.
would hurt them and
Yeah.
take it home
I'm thinking of them.
yourself because you're thinking of them.
Yes.
So noble.
No, it is going to be cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a spirit stick that will go around for the best decorated trunk. So that'll be cool. If you are a part of our church, or if you just want to participate in that and decorate your trunk, send us a note. Talk to Corinne DeWitt. She is the one who's running the whole thing, and we'd love to get you to be a part of that. And we'll help if you need us to help provide some stuff for you to pass out. We can do that. Or just tell families with kids that would enjoy that to come on that day. We're going to do it from 2 to 4, so it'll still be light out. If you don't want to have to do the trick-or-treat thing later in the evening, or if you're going to do it both, double it up,
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten too much candy at Halloween? No,
Never.
you have not. No,
Never.
you have not. So feel free to come out and be a part of that.
I do have an announcement.
Okay.
Youth group's a different
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Just when
Yes.
we're getting used to 3:30 to 5.
You're changing it up.
This week we are, why we have the kids at church anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You just stick around after church. I'm going to get some pizza and pop. And after lunch, we're going to head over to Suter's Corn Maze and do all that stuff for a couple hours and then come back. And everybody gets a free pumpkin.
Everybody gets a free pumpkin?
Free pumpkin.
What? How about that? Like a big pumpkin?
Medium pumpkin.
Medium
is
pumpkin.
what I don't know what they say for medium pumpkin, but when I was negotiating,
How does a medium pumpkin compare to the size
when
of
I was
your head?
negotiating, I said, "Okay, can we do a medium pumpkin?" And they said, "Sure."
Do they teach you at youth group college that you went to how to negotiate with corn maze owners?
It is a skill
It's a spiritual
that
gift.
I just picked up along the way. It is something God has just instilled in me.
Good for you.
I have a hollowed out white pumpkin
You
out
do?
on my back patio. If
With a squirrel in the middle of it.
yeah. And you get
The squirrel is so real.
The squirrel comes with it.
It's a cyclops.
James, anything else for the good of the order?
No.
Okay.
Oh well. Kyle did say he is the czar of
Czar of, man, they do it different in Indiana. Oh, jeez. All right. Church at 9 a.m. traditional, 11:15 contemporary. Sunday school's at 10 o'clock. We'd love to have you there.
Absolutely.
And stick with us every Wednesday at noon right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be back
See ya.
next week. So we will see you later. Oh, one little shout out because it's been getting a lot of press in
Okay.
this room. I have not yet experienced it, but I'm told Park Place is the place to go right now.
Yes.
New restaurant, right out by Emory Adams.
Hispaniola, I guess, is what you would call it. They're Puerto Rican.
Hispaniola is
is
the island that contains Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
Okay. I was trying to get them to describe it, and it's like
It's Hispanic food.
No, not really, because it doesn't they don't do necessarily like Mexican or mostly
Dave.
Caribbean food, I guess.
All right, Caribbean food. Puerto Rican food. Why can't you say Puerto Rican food?
Because it's not just that. They're trying to get all the different flags up.
Fine. Anyway, if you get a chance, apparently it's awesome. Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, now I'm done. James, play us out.
All right. Hold on. I got to turn my mic on. There. Now
There
the
you
people
are.
can hear me.
They can hear
and
you.
see me.
And they can see you.
I have my trusty mandolin.
Oh, we're getting a mandolin today.
Woohoo!
I don't
the
know if we've already
closing
done
thing.
that before, but
It's church chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
See you later.
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.